Okay, we'll go ahead and get started, and I will send out a within the newsletter, I'll have a summary of our meeting today along with the link to the recorded meeting, so everybody can take a look at that. But I wanted to thank you all very, very much for taking the time to be here. Without pre-registration, I wasn't sure who was going to come. So it's so nice to see. It's so nice to see you. And then Leanne, who just finished yard work, decided to hop on. Doesn't want to be on the video, but that's perfectly okay. I'm very happy that you're here. Before we get started, I'd really like, whether you are here in person or watching a recording, if you could let me know your expectations for being here. So, for example, one person had mentioned they're just looking for general information and just wanting to relearn. Another person mentioned that they're here for fireworks, how to calm dogs during fireworks. Other people through email have mentioned wanting a calmer dog on their walks, less reactive on walks. Another person, I won't name names, emailed saying that she thought this whole series was just for her because I had just watched her dog. And so she
finally
thought that
calmed down. 2 weeks later, he's finally calmed down. He had too much fun.
Margie, I was trying to keep you
it's okay. I own him. I own it.
Okay. But just for a calmer dog. So if you wouldn't mind taking a moment in the chat just to write down your expectations of the course. And if you're watching this on the recording, if you shoot me an email, I'd really love it. It's also going to help me too know how to organize the class to help everybody.
Yeah. So I've kind of already done that, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Patsy. Hi, Ken.
Hey. Hi, Tammy. Hi, everyone.
Hi. And then Patsy and Ken, I was just asking if you could just jump on the chat real quick and write down your expectations for the webinar. What would help you the best?
I don't know how to do that.
Me neither. Oh, there it is.
Let's see. I bet I could figure it out.
Patsy, is Bruno still being crazy on leash?
He is with some with motorcycles and with skateboards.
Okay.
Those are the two. I mean, that's his Achilles heel.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. So I don't know how to go on chat. Can I'll get whatever I get out of this.
Yes. Okay. But I know you're with automobiles, skateboards.
Yeah, automobiles, skateboards, some dogs.
Okay. Your hair's pretty. It's long.
Thank you. Yeah, it is.
Normal.
Thanks.
Okay.
It's not
fence barking.
I did, didn't I?
It's not just feeling.
I see it, Laurie. It worked.
Okay. Good.
I'm gonna get my glasses. I can't see what you're.
Okay, this is very helpful. Calmer dogs on walks. Glenn, all the help we can get. We're not going to mention that I've been working with Cooper for several years now.
Yeah, well, that's more me than.
Well, no, I think we just show them the picture of Cooper and then they'll understand, well, yeah, I could see why that guy's a little crazy.
Wait, him or me?
Cooper.
Okay.
Okay, this is all very helpful. So my intentions for this webinar, 5 weeks to a calmer dog, just in time for the holidays, is to have your dog's energy level calmer during the holidays, when holidays in general is the hustle and bustle of the season, and the change of schedule can cause your dog to become hyperactive. People walking in the house, new people coming in and out, can cause your dog to become hyperactive or overjoyed that somebody is new to see them. It's to calm your dog down in those aspects. And then with having an understanding of your goals, it's really going to help me to be able to address in other sessions how we can help your dog achieve that. Now, with all these different fireworks, reactive to other dogs on leash, people walking in the house, reactive to dogs or cats on walks, with all of these goals, everything that you learn in this class will help your dog just become calmer in general. So even though I might not say this is going to help you with this, all of these techniques that you're going to be receiving in the 5 weeks will help your dog become calmer in general. And really, student participation, I can't thank you enough for writing in the chat your thoughts, but student participation is really going to help drive this course too. So if you have emails, any suggestions, any thoughts, please email me. I really, really welcome that, because that's going to help as well. I do want to take a moment, with it being observance of Veterans Day, take a moment to any veterans or active duty military and their families for your service. Thank you very, very much for that. Okay. With our dogs being overexcitable, I like you to think about what is the root cause of your dog's overexcitability. Some reasons why your dog might be overexcited is because of their breed disposition, their age, their overall temperament. You can have a litter of 10 and you have the happy one, the overexcited one, the overjoyed one. If you got your dog during COVID, it could be lack of socialization, multiple dog household, change in a routine and their environment. So with the holidays coming up, the change in your dog's routine can definitely cause your dog to act out. Lack of training, you haven't trained your dog to become calm, or how you are in general. If you are overexcited and overactive, your dog can definitely feed off of that energy. And then your overall environment. So I was mentioning to a couple people when first signing on, is I kicked my 12-year-old son out of the house during this webinar because the energy is tenfold when he is in the house. It's a lot of energy. And then Glenn mentioned that the grandkids are over right now, and so his dog might be barking, getting all crazy with the grandkids over. So the general household, the general environment can definitely bring up your dog's overall energy too. And just overall genetics, your dog's breed disposition. We get these purebred dogs for certain behavioral traits, but then you also have to look at these behavioral traits. Did you get the dog that was bred to run miles and miles and miles for an extended period of time? That's definitely going to play a role in the overactivity too. I'd like you to take a moment. I'm going to ask you a question, but I'd like you to close your eyes and think of the first thing that pops into your head when I ask you this question. Okay, go ahead and close your eyes. I had a brain lapse and I forgot what I was. Okay, I looked at my notes. Let's try again.
That's what
Oh my
notes
gosh,
are
you
for.
guys. I'm nervous. Okay, close your eyes. And what's the first thing that pops into your head when I ask you, how can you have a calmer dog? Okay, open your eyes. So the first thing that popped into your mind is probably what you need to do for your dog. I'm going to go over a lot of different solutions in these next several weeks, but what just popped into your mind is probably one of the first things that you should start doing to help your dog become a calmer dog. So that's within you.
Okay.
And take a look if it's going to be one of our solutions that we talk about.
Okay.
Now, I have trained a lot of dogs. I do boarding school. That's where dogs come into the house, my house, and I train them. And then I return them to the owners trained. I review everything with the owners so that they can follow through with the training. I've done a lot of private lessons and classes.
Leave it.
So probably for over 20, not probably, for over 25 years, I've been training dogs. So I have a lot of experience. And the first thing that I find helps the most with having a calmer dog is exercise. I don't know if that's surprising to anybody, but exercise I find is the most important. And I got to be honest with you guys. So I'm nervous for today, but I got up early this morning so that I could exercise to calm my nerves, to calm my overexcitedness. So that's one of the things that I really want you to think about if you're giving your dog enough exercise. Now, how much exercise should your dog receive? That can be very different depending upon your dog. But a general rule of thumb is I like 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the afternoon. That's what I like. But again, it can be different for your dog. Gosh, I forgot another thing that can cause your dog for excitability is their age. Their age plays a huge role in overexcitedness. The reason why I mentioned this is just talking about the amount of exercise is your puppy is going to need more. Your puppy's going to need more exercise than your 5-year-old dog, unless you have Cooper or Sunny.
Or Sunny, yeah. I was thinking that's a little bit of exercise for Sunny.
Yeah. Right. Then they're going to need a lot more. But I do want to mention Cooper is a border collie mix, border-doodle, and Sunny is a lab. Now, these two breeds, and the border collies are bred to run fields, to gather the animals. The labs are bred to run, and find the fowl that their owner has gotten for hunting. So they're bred for lots of exercise, to keep that in mind. Now with exercise, there's physical exercise and there's mental exercise. And we're going to review mental exercise within the coming weeks. But today I really wanted to focus on the physical exercise. So with the physical exercise, there's a lot of different ways that we can give our dogs physical exercise.
Come on.
I'm assuming the first thing that pops into people's minds are walks. And walks, yes, that's great exercise. Now, I will tell you with walks, I have different kind of walks. I'll have a walk where I'm walking and I expect dogs just to walk with me. No sniffing, no saying hi to people. We're on a mission. I have 10 minutes before I have to leave for a session, we got to get our walk in. So I have that kind of walk. So it's a walk. I have a sniffing walk where that's what I'm giving my puppy a lot of right now is I have her on a longer leash. And as long as she's not pulling, I'm letting her walk where she would like to, but use her nose to smell. Now, if your dog pulls, what I'd like you to do is stop or turn and walk in the other direction if your dog pulls. Because on your walks, you never want to allow your dog to pull, no matter what kind of walk it is. Because if you let your dog pull sometimes, but not other times, the inconsistency can be very confusing to them. And I'll tell you, they will be the ones that will keep pulling. That's, if you haven't trained them otherwise, they will pull. That's what they will choose to do. So you have your walks where, okay, I have a limited amount of time. Let's get this done. You have your sniffing walks, or you have a training walk. So Lauren, I know you love the training walks. Every time you walk your pups, you have them sit, you have them stay, work on downs. You're working on something with your dogs on your training walks. And that's what I do a lot with the boarding school dogs, is that I allow them to play. I will train them on our walks. So maybe every fire hydrant, it prompts me to, okay, we're working on a sit stay. They're sitting and staying while I'm able to walk around them and the fire hydrant. Before crossing any street, definitely a sit stay so that I can check both sides of the street to go across. So you have your training walks. Now with your sniffing walks and your training walks, that's also giving your dogs mental stimulation, which can be tiring for them too. So don't disregard those walks. You might not be walking as long or as far, but I can tell you the mental stimulation from smelling or working with your dog is also a great way to calm your dogs as well. It's a very, very good way. Other ways to get physical exercise, you have your dog parks. Now, I'm not a huge fan of dog parks by any means. Maybe off hours where there's not very many people there or nobody there. But the reason being is that I do not feel people pay attention at dog parks the way they should. Or they just keep having their dogs play, and they don't give their dogs a break. If your dog is not getting a break, or another dog playing at the dog park is not getting a break, they can become a little more snappy towards other dogs. So that can cause problems in the dog park. So whenever anybody asks me about a dog park, I always recommend off hours, or I'll suggest going for a walk on the outside of the dog park to work on training and attention while they're seeing all these different dogs in a dog park. Plus, you never know in dog parks if the dogs are socialized or not. So if you want your dog sick. Yes. Thank you, Lauren. Very, very good.
I'm sorry.
If you want your dog to play with other dogs, get a dog buddy. Maybe somebody that you've met on your walks or in one of our classes. Get a dog buddy so that you can meet in an area where the dogs can play with one another. But having the dogs play with one another is another really good form of exercise for your dogs. Living in Hawaii, we have the ocean, the beach, so having the dogs swim. If your dogs are afraid of water, how you can help them become accustomed to the water is first going to the beach that's very, very calm. So I'm on Kailua, the windward side of the island, and very calm places to go in Kailua is Lanikai Beach, or the beach across from Sea Life Park. That's, the waves aren't coming in there and isn't as rough water for them if you're needing them to become used to the water. Other ways to exercise your dogs, hiking. Oh my goodness, hiking is so wonderful. You get that smell in there because your dogs are smelling something new on a wonderful hike. And I also love a difference in terrain. So you're not just walking on flat ground. You might have to climb up some rocks or go up an incline a little bit, and having your dog use different higher or lower elevations is really, really, really good for them. It's a great way to stimulate your dog's senses. And again, on the hikes, having them smell, that is a great way to help calm your dogs as well. If you, on your walks or at the beach, if you do not have a strong recall or coming when called, I like to use long leashes. So keep your dog on a long leash, a 10, 20-foot leash. They still have freedom, but you still have control over your dog. I really feel that one of the hardest things with dogs today is that we're in such close quarters that we don't give our dogs a chance to be a dog. Just let them do what they want to do. We try controlling what our dogs do so much. So having that long leash is an extension of you, but allowing them freedom with safety. So the long leashes can really be a lifesaver to let your dog be a dog. Classes, agility training can be a wonderful way to exert energy for your dog. That's a lot of fun. That's mental and physical exercise for both trainer and dog. I'm so blessed with the agility classes. I feel it's keeping me young mentally. So I really like that. Running with your dog. Running is a great form of exercise. But one thing to keep in mind with running and also with agility training is that you want your dog to be 1 year of age or older before putting in a lot of miles running because of their growth plates. You want your dog to be fully developed with their growth plates before running them hard. You want them to be physically able to run. And on a running program, you want to make sure you work up to that, to putting in the miles. If you're an avid runner right now, you don't want to all of a sudden take your dog out on a 5-mile run if they haven't been running yet. Excuse me. Some people might think of biking with their dog, and I do see people biking with their dog, but I don't recommend that. I have found it just to be unsafe. Your dog could be fine with you running along the bike with you, but what happens if something scares your dog and they run into your bike? I've had that happen before with a client. So that can be really scary. So I don't really recommend biking with your dogs. We don't have a place here in Hawaii that does dock diving, but if you're on the mainland, dock diving or the lure courses, I don't think we have lure courses anymore. Lauren or Dorothea, do you know if we have any lure coursing?
No,
Not that I know of, no.
not that I know of anymore,
Yeah, we used to, but we don't have that anymore. But those are fun. Are there any forms of physical exercise that you give your dogs that I haven't mentioned?
No.
Lori, I see you holding a toy. There's
She's muted, but I think
oh, Lori is, yes.
he's playing tug with our dog. Just hold on.
That's okay. But
Tammy,
yes.
one of the things I used with the puppy was the flick pole, but you really have to know what you're doing if you're going to use the flick pole. It can be dangerous too, especially if the growth plates aren't, matured yet.
I love that, Dorothea. I do that too. Dorothea mentioned, Dorothea, I call it a flirt pole. Are you calling it a flip?
Same one.
Okay. So, in the newsletter, I'll have this written out for you, but it's called a flirt pole, FLIRT. And it's like this huge cat toy for dogs where it's a rope toy at the end or some type of toy at the end of a rope for the dogs. Oh my, this is a wonderful way to engage your dog and also work with impulse control, having your dog sit and stay, and you can move the toy out a little bit and then say, get it. And then they run and get it, and you can move the toy back and forth, and they try to go after the flirt pole. But as Dorothea mentioned, that's another really good thing to make sure that your dog is physically developed. So a year or older to play with one of those, but it's a great way to mentally exercise, work on your impulse control and physical exercise for the dogs. And it really works with the prey drive. So your dog likes to run after the toy. It's great. Eileen in the comments, that's great, is mentioning hide and seek for treats. That's a good one too. So you can work on your dogs to stay, and then you hide treats around the house and say, okay, find it, and go find the toys or find the treats. That's a win for your dog and a win for you because they're using their senses, and that can help create a calmer dog. Or as Sunny, the big lab, he just goes to the food bag and digs his entire head in the food bag and says, yeah, I found it, Mom.
Well, I do. We do play find it. His nose isn't that good, it seems. So yeah.
Oh my goodness, your Labrador's nose isn't that good.
It's shocking. We'll walk right by a dead something and he doesn't get it, or it's weird. So yeah.
Okay, knock on wood right now.
An interesting lab.
That's good.
Tammy,
Or yes,
the the toys,
yes.
the hide and seek toys.
Yeah, we do those too. Those puzzle toys, those are fun.
Yes, and we'll be reviewing toys in another session because those are really, really good. Really good. Again, any way that you can think of using your dog's senses is good. Oh, so Lori holding just it looked like an octopus toy, maybe for tug of war. There's controversy on tug of war. I liked playing tug with dogs with boundaries. I think it's a great way to work on impulse control with your dogs. And that's, your tug toys, or as mentioned earlier, your flirt poles, the dogs going after the flirt pole. But asking them to sit and stay, and then leaving the toy alone, even though they might be at a heightened state of arousal, asking them to leave the toy or drop the toy is a great way to work on impulse control. We're going to go in detail about impulse control in another session, but these toys are really fantastic way to help your dog with impulse control. Okay, Glenn, we'll see you later.
I
Okay.
look forward to seeing the rest of it.
Great.
Take care.
Thanks for being here. So I really just wanted to open it up right now to any questions. I do have a video that I will show if you're working on your dog not pulling on the leash. I have a video that I'm going to show at the end here of tips for loose leash walking. But I did want to wrap it up with questions or asking your biggest takeaway from what you might have heard today. Laureen, you were looking for general information. What do you feel your biggest takeaway from today would be to tell those 2 German Shepherd dog owners that you're working with?
Well, I would definitely tell them to get onto this Zoom webinar.
Okay. Thank you.
So far, It is on track with that, so that's good.
Good. Good. Okay. Janine, hi. Oh, I didn't even realize that was you. Hi, Janine. Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, overexertion, overexcitement at the door, the dog wanting to get at someone's face and lick them.
Yes, yes. We are going to go through, that. I think we're going to go through that next week because Thanksgiving's coming up here. In the meantime, what you'll want to do is really focus on, before you know companies coming over or friends coming over, the first thing that I can recommend is make sure that they are getting a lot of exercise beforehand, just to get their crazies out, their yayas out. That would be my first thing that I would say.
Okay.
Anybody else have a takeaway from today? Lauren?
Lauren. I'm a big fan of walking. I really think that walking is general, all in all, great exercise. Of course, you know, I like training walks. I also, although you didn't say it, I'm not a fan of the retractable leashes. I don't think you didn't mention it, but I don't think that they're a good thing. You have no control. Whereas a 10 or 12 foot, if you wanted a longer leash, you have control. So I was reminded about that. I think you're doing a great job, Tammy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Anybody else have a takeaway? Bill and Kate, with your pack of 3.
Yeah, I don't, not so much I don't know if it's a takeaway, but a problem that we need to work on is not so much people coming to the door or coming in the house, just people walking in front of the house. And especially there's certain, you know how when you lock your car, your car will beep. There's certain cars in the neighborhood that when they lock their car, when they come home, it really sets the dogs off.
Oh,
And
interesting.
it must be the certain frequency, or but some cars don't, and some cars do. So there's a couple things
Wow.
that we have to work on.
Huh. Okay.
But at the very beginning of this session, I don't know if you noticed, I got up a few times because somebody pulled up in front of our house and parked their car out front, and all the dogs ran to the window and started barking.
Yes. Yeah. That's very, very common. And also, I will help with the barking at people through the fence or when people are walking by. Having the 3 dogs, they're like siblings. If one is going, the other's going to go. So they really play off of one another.
Yeah,
But
you get the whole pack. As soon as one of them bark, they all jump in.
Right.
Absolutely. And I'll definitely address things that we can do with that. The go settle is one of my biggest prompts. And Janine, that would be for you too, is to bring back the go settle if you haven't been working on that when people come in. But we'll definitely go over that in more detail as well. Good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen. If you need help or want a refresher with loose leash walking and some tips, stay on. Otherwise, you can log off and hopefully you've gained some pointers today that can help you out. And know that these sessions are for you. So anything that you have, please email me, and I'd really appreciate your feedback. And Lorene, again, thank you. Our chat before everything started helped calm my nerves.
Oh, to hear
You did a
that.
great job.
Oh, I like this. Eileen in the chat, she wrote that she does a weekly pack walk with 9 to 14 dogs. Wow. And their people. It helps socialize the dogs and tire them out. That's really good. That's really good training too, to be able to walk in a pack like that. I really like that. That's kind of like our advanced obedience class. We have a bunch of people together. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here, hopefully.
So I have Melly here. She's just a puppy, so she has a lot of puppy energy and can be all over the place on her walks. What I will do when training her is I'll give her a lot of continuous reinforcement. So I'm using a lot of treats on our walks to let her know she's being a good girl, staying at my left-hand side. How I'm holding the leash is my right hand through the loop, and I work from my core. I don't hold my leash loosely with my arms. I hold my leash here because with a lot of pullers, they can start hurting your shoulders. So I really like to hold the leash right here. And if they pull, I have my whole core that I'm working with. When I reward, I'm rewarding out of my left hand at my left-hand side. Good girl, Millie. Good. And then I talk to the dogs a lot to let them know, to encourage them to stay with me. Good girl, Millie. Sit. Good girl. Good girl, Millie. Okay, let's go, sweetheart. Good girl. So with the loose leash walking, I do allow the dogs freedom. She's on a 6-foot leash. So she can smell around, although I want to keep them at the left-hand side. If they move towards their right-hand side, I'll just gently pull on the leash. Millie, good girl. Good girl. Good. And there's somebody coming up behind you, Callie, but keep the video going. Good girl, Millie. Good girl. There's somebody coming here with another dog. So I'm just going to pull Millie off to the side and I'll reward her for being a good dog when we let the other dog pass by. Good girl, Millie. That's a good girl. Good girl. Good girl. That's a good girl. Lots of rewards telling her good girl for not going after, to go say hi to the other dog, to jump and go after to say hi to the other dog. Okay, Millie, let's go, sweetheart. Good girl. That's my good girl. That's a good girl, Millie. That's a good girl. She's doing a really good job. Starting to pull, I stop. She's already redirecting to me, which is great. Millie, good girl, good girl. She started to pull again. Just go ahead and redirect her. Good girl, Millie. Good girl, sweetheart. You're being such a good girl. Good girl. Yes, good girl. And again, she starts to pull. I can walk backwards. Good girl, sweetheart. That's a good girl, Millie. That's a good girl. Or my personal favorite to prevent pulling, holding the leash right here at my core. This way is turning and walking the opposite direction. That's a good Millie girl. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. And a lot of feedback to keep your dog wanting to pay attention to you instead of all the distractions around. Good girl, Millie. That's my good girl. This way. This way. Good girl, Millie. Very good girl. That's a very good girl. Yes, it is. Good girl. Good. Millie, sit. Good girl. When I first start loose leash walking, I have my dog in a sit. Good boy, Carbon, look. And I'm rewarding him for paying attention to me. Remember, behavior that's rewarded will increase. So the more that we can reward him for paying attention to me on the walk and walking nicely on his leash, good boy, look, the more he should pay attention to me on the walk. Okay, Carbon.
I'm just going to pause it here because both Carbon and Millie are very food motivated. So I was able to use a lot of treats while training. And if you have a dog that's not very food motivated, try using different types of treats. Hot dogs, Spam, chicken, cheese, up your reward for your dogs. If they're overstimulated and not excited for treats, even with the high reward treats, continue to do your turns or stops if they're pulling. they're pulling, stop until they're not pulling, or turn and walk the other direction. But both of these, I know just had a play session with other dogs, so they have a little bit of their yas out, and they're both food motivated. So they're making it look easy. But again, I'm consistent. I'm stopping and turning, and that's what you can do as well if you're just starting off with your dog.
Good boy. Good, good boy, Carmen. Okay, let's go. So with the loose leash walking, I'm not telling him anything. Okay, he's pulling a little bit, so I'm going to stop and back up. Good. I have his attention again, which is good. I don't say anything when I'm loose leash walking. I'm just going to walk with him. If he makes a mistake, good boy, Carmen. Good boy, look. If he makes a mistake, such as pulls, I will stop and wait for him to redirect. Good boy, Carbon. So when I stopped walking, he came back to me. So we'll go ahead and walk again. Good boy, Carbon. Let's go. Good boy. Good, Carbon. Or if he pulls, I can stop and walk backwards. Good boy, Carbon. Good boy. Good boy. Good. Good, Carbon. Or my personal favorite is I stop and turn the other direction. Carbon, this way. Good boy. Good, Carbon. Good boy. Good boy, Carbon. Good boy. Good, Carbon. That's my good boy. Look. Good, Carbon. Okay, this way. Good, Carbon. Sit. Good. So if my dog pulls, there's 3 things that I will do. I will stop until they're not pulling, or I will stop and walk backwards, or I turn and walk the other direction. What's important for me, and I feel for you, is that you reward the good behavior. So we reward him when he looks at me, when your dog looks at you. We reward and they're walking nicely and on their leashes. Okay, Carmen, let's go, bud. Good boy. Good boy. So we're proactive and we reward the good behavior. Good. Look. Good boy, Carbon. That's a good boy. Good. Look. Good, Carbon. That's a good boy. This way. Good, Carbon. Good.
Okay, I'm going to stop that there. What I do want to, oops, how do I get out of this here? Oops. Stop the, just to honor time. One thing that I want to mention with the walking, sorry, you guys, I'm trying to figure out how to get out of the screen share. Oh, here we go. Is how you start your walk will set a big precedence to how your walk goes. So for example, if you grab your leash or your harness and your dog is bouncing all over the place, yay, 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 we get to go for a walk, we get to go for a walk. And then you walk out the door with them pulling you out the door because they're so excited. That's probably how your walk is going to go. So what I like to do is I ask the dogs to go settle, to put on their harness or their leash so they're calm on their settle spot. And we'll review the go settle in probably next week. And walking out the doors, always have the dogs sit and stay before walking out the door. I do not have the dogs pull me out of the door because again, that's probably how your walk is going to start. And also it's just not safe. What happens if they pull you out and then depending on your living situation, they're pulling you out towards another dog or a car. So just have them sit, stay when walking out the door. But how you start your walk sets a precedence for your walk. Now, the video that I was showing you is part of, I have a online video series. It mirrors my classes. So if you're interested in the online video series, I have that available as well too, but that's where that video is taken from. Does anybody have any questions?
Got one, Tammy.
Yes.
On that, would you also increase your pace? Slow, fast, slow, fast?
Oh, yes, yes, that's great, Dorothea. Yes. Definitely increase your pace on your walks to keep it different for your dogs.
Second question, how long a session would you take doing that?
Depending upon your goal for your walk, I do a 20-minute walk, depending upon the dogs. And also where you walk your dog sets a big precedent. So somebody had mentioned the dog's reaction to cats. You first want your dog to be good on their leash and paying attention to you on their walks without cats. And then you can walk by that house with cats when your dog knows the tools to use, such as look, pay attention. So set your dog up for success when they're first learning how to walk on the leash or not pull you on the leash.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, thank you so very much. I'd love your feedback if you shoot me an email, and then anybody watching, please send me an email. I'd really love to hear your feedback on your expectations and your takeaway from this class. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Bye. Great to see you.